in Chapter 7 for business law, we looked at strict liability and product liability. So basically, strict liability is liability regardless of fault. So basically, if you take all the necessary precautions and safety measures for whatever activity you're doing, if you do all that and someone still gets hurt, you engage in these activities, you are still going to be held responsible, regardless of the amount of care taken into consideration. There are different steps or requirements for strict liability. One would be product must be in defective condition when sold. This is generally easy to prove based off of past reviews online or what people are saying around about the product. So that's generally something that's easy. You know, those bad reviews are out there. The company decides to ignore them, and eventually someone gets hurt. So that's one of them. Two, defendant is in the business of selling the product. Product must be unreasonably dangerous. The person or victim must be physically harmed or hurt. Defective condition must be the approximate cause of the injury. So that's very important. And goods are in substantially same condition. So those are the six different requirements for strict liability. Basically, an example of strict liability could be wild animals. If you have or own a wild animal and you make sure you keep up with all the safety precautions, keep them in their enclosures, proper enclosures, warning signs, all that stuff. But if someone still gets in to the enclosure, you're going to be held responsible. Somebody has to be held responsible, and it's going to be you. So that's basically an example of strict liability. Strict liability applied to the area of product liability. There is strict product liability. So basically holds people liable for results of their acts regardless of their intentions or exercise of reasonable care. So that's basically how they interconnect. So for part 2, please explain in detail the various defenses to product liability. So basically what product liability actually is, it's when a manufacturers, sellers, or lessor's ability to consumers and bystanders for physical harm or property damage that is caused by the actual goods. So basically defective products. There are a lot of times defective products can cause harm or damage to property to someone. This is basically what it is. So an example could be something that we talked about in class, a defective gun. You know, you go to shoot your gun and the chamber explodes. That's a defective product. You get hurt because it exploded right near you, whether that be because whatever the damages are physical, or you know, you impair your hearing or something like that along the lines of that. That would be something because of a defective product.
Hold on.
Okay. Jeez. I gotta lock my door. Please describe and explain in detail. So I really don't feel like redoing everything that I just said, so I'm just going to merge these two videos together because people kept barging in my room. So I apologize for that. But so for part 2, please explain in detail the various defenses to product liability. So there are a lot of common defenses towards product liability. Some big ones include misuse. So if you're misusing the product from how it was originally intended for it to be used, that can be something that can be a case for defense. Assumption of risk. Some things there are sort of in a sense, like, you know, it has some sort of a risk to it, like something like it's on the tip of my tongue, like kitchen utensils, for example, like a knife. If you're, you know, using a knife to cook food or something, you know that it's sharp, so you're making that, assuming the risk of that object, so it's not because of that you were hurt. Negligence is another one. Modification. This is a big one. So if you make modifications to a product and it kind of backfires on you and hurts you, the company cannot be held responsible for that because you altered that product. So say if you wanted to make a modification on, like, I don't know, a gun or something like that, and you got hurt because of it, the gun company would not be held responsible because you decided to alter it. There are some more, such as the product itself did not actually cause the injury. So for example, if you're using if you're using like a hair straightener, for if you're a girl, and you burn yourself because of it, because you like slipped or something like that, that's not because of the product. That's your own fault because you slipped, so you can't sue that company. So there are different types of defenses for product liability that should be taken into consideration if you're going to sue somebody for that. So that's basically everything that we looked at for Chapter 7.